Also here at 5:30, we're learning new information tonight after a 6-month-old baby was found alive at the scene of a double murder in Detroit.
We want to get the very latest from Sean Lay. He joins us live where the investigation stands. And Sean, I understand you just got some new information?
That's right. Detroit police releasing a person of interest. His name and picture, Orlando Whitfield. Now, that happened late this afternoon. We just spoke with a heartbroken family from Ann Arbor. Orlando Whitfield was on trial for the murder of their daughter, and a judge there let him out on bond.
Now, I just did this story the other day. Wow. This is absolutely insane. My condolences to the family of the two people that he killed after he was released on bond. If you don't know the story, oh my God, this is absolutely insane. If this family, because I haven't seen this video yet, if this family who was impacted by this double murder voted for liberal policies, unfortunately, I can't feel sorry for them. Logically. But just my heart, I feel terrible for these people. Because this guy was in prison and he was dead to rights. All they needed to do was try him on trial. The judge let him go. And they're doing this all over the country. Maniacs, letting maniacs go. This is just sad, man. I'm sorry for rambling so long about this, but this really messes me up because I'm torn. These people vote for these liberal policies and people get hurt behind them. People who didn't vote for those policies get hurt. But then when you hear something like this, it's hard to not feel sorry for them, even though you know they probably voted for this.
We want to get the very latest from Sean Lay. He joins us live where the investigation stands. And Sean, I understand you just got some new information?
That's right. Detroit police releasing a person of interest. His name and picture, Orlando Whitfield. Now, that happened late this afternoon. We just spoke with a heartbroken family from Ann Arbor. Orlando Whitfield was on trial for the murder of their daughter, and a judge there let him out on bond. 31-year-old DeAndrew Pfizer III and his fiancée, 27-year-old Tanya Carter, got engaged 2 days ago, according to a post from Carter showing off her engagement ring. The couple was found bound and shot to death inside a home on the city's west side. Their 6-month-old baby found with them, unharmed. Today, Chief James White says investigators are working nonstop to track down the killer, saying they need to find a person of interest.
Black police chief.
Today, Chief James White says investigators are working nonstop to track down the killer, saying they need to find a person of interest.
This person that we're looking for and we need help finding is Orlando Whitfield.
Naming Orlando Whitfield as the person of interest is what Cindy Warren of Ann Arbor was so afraid of. Whitfield was on trial for the 2018 robbery and murder of her daughter, Marissa Edmonds. But the judge in the case, Carol Kuhnke, let Whitfield out on a tether, citing COVID concerns.
So they let this guy out citing COVID concerns. Meanwhile, there were 9,000 protests from May 25th to December 31st of 2020. 9,000 protests where sweaty white liberals were shoulder to shoulder ransacking and causing mayhem across the cities. Spray painting, graffitiing walls, tearing up stores, burning, marching in mobs, having drum circles and poetry readings and dance-offs, all communing, nobody doing social distancing, but you gotta let this fool go, citing COVID concerns. Are you kidding me? This white woman, and she's going to sleep like a baby. That's one thing about liberals. I want you guys to know one thing about liberals. They don't toss and turn at night about this stuff. This stuff does not keep them up. They're not human like you and me. Where, like, this would just, like, if she was honorable, she would commit harakiri. If she had any honor, she would hear about this and commit harakiri. Or find the tallest bridge. Or the tallest building. How can this woman sleep? And you know she's done this so many times, and so many of these liberal judges. We talked about this the other day in the video. I just don't know how they sleep at night. Now, this is one of the main things I talked about Kim Kardashian. Letting all these old criminals out of jail, and most of those guys that Kim is fighting for did it. It's just some technicality, like the jury was all white, or some piece of evidence wasn't admitted. It's a technicality. It's not like the guy didn't do it. The guy did it. But you know, the legal system is a game. So if you could beat it and there was a piece of evidence that wasn't admitted, then we have retrial and yada yada yada. Those people that Kim Kardashian wants to free never are freed into Calabasas. They're always freed into Blackistan. And this is my problem with this criminal justice reform. You want to let all these criminals go? Fine. But let them move into your neighborhood, white woman. Stop letting all these criminals go and put them back in our neighborhood.
As the person of interest is what Cindy Warren of Ann Arbor was so afraid of. Whitfield was on trial for the 2018 robbery and murder of her daughter, Marissa Edmonds. But the judge in the case, Carol Kuhnke, let Whitfield out on a tether, citing COVID concerns.
I waited and waited to get the call that he had cut his tether and escaped, because I knew he would. But when I finally got the call, I was just in shock. I mean, it was horrible.
And now Whitfield is a person of interest in this brutal double homicide. This mom's message for the judge who let him out last May.
What she did was inexcusable. I don't know, it's awful. And now to think another family has to go through this, and that baby has to grow up without parents, it's horrible.
Back here live, we did reach out to the judge and her office to see if she has any comment on these late developments. Again, it's late in the day, guys, so if she has anything to say about the case moving forward, we'll certainly bring that to you. Getting back to Orlando, Whitfield, he's 32 years old tonight. Detroit police say they need your help in tracking him down. Karen, back to you.
Police say the suspects were in a car that the officer pulled over last night for allegedly rolling through a stop sign. Police say the driver yelled at the officer. Then they say a woman got out of the car, attacked him. Police say the driver got out to stop the officer from arresting her. The driver ran off, and that's when the officer chased him. Police say the officer was outnumbered at that moment and was punched, kicked, and choked.
Listen, man. This is what officers are having to face from these people. I'm telling you, it's worse for you as a citizen. Now that you guys, not you guys who subscribe to this channel, but now that we stood back and let liberals embolden these criminals and give these criminals wind beneath their wings, and give these Sun people the idea, the notion that there's nothing they can do wrong, and everything that doesn't go their way, they should be able to respond with violence. Anything doesn't go their way, they get to respond with violence. They get to throw a hissy fit. They get to wild out. That's kind of what the protest told them. Oh, you mean if something happens to one of us, white people can go out there and act crazy and tear stuff up? So-called liberals, so-called allies? Well, we can too. And we better at it. And you better not say nothing to us Because you look at all these white people out here tearing up stuff every time a crackhead chokes on his own vomit after he ODs. A la Daniel Prude in Rochester. They were running up on people in restaurants, turning their tables over after that guy choked on his own vomit after he OD'd on PCP. So now you have black folk don't have to stop for stop signs. In the rare chance, I do the same thing sometimes. I roll stop signs. Just the fact that you just do it in front of a cop and yell at the cop before he even pulls you over, and then a woman, one of the females of the species, jumps out the car and attacks him. Now when you get an offender bender with one of these son people, you do know how that's going to go, right? You know how that's going to go, right? When you swerve into one of these people's lane, you didn't see them, they were in your blind spot. You try to switch lanes. They're in your blind spot. So you're looking in your mirror, but you don't see it because they're in your blind spot. And boom, you try to switch and then they hit the horn and you correct and get back in your lane. They're going to pull up beside you and shoot your ass. Or they're going to yell at you for like a mile and try to like follow you to wherever you're going and fight with you. And if you're on a residential street, they're going to cut you off and get out the car and force you to either have to run them over or reverse to get out of there. They'll do this if you have kids in the car. They'll do this if you have your grandmother in the car. They don't care. Because now they know if something doesn't go their way, they get to act like a complete and utter fool.
Police say the suspects were in a car that the officer pulled over last night for allegedly rolling through a stop sign. Police say the driver yelled at the officer. Then they say a woman got out of the car, attacked him. Police say the driver got out to stop the officer from arresting her. The driver ran off, and that's when the officer chased him. Police say the officer was outnumbered at that moment and was punched, kicked, and choked. Bond was set for all three suspects today. They're expected to appear in court sometime next month.
A driver's windshield shattered under the weight of a baseball bat during an alleged road rage attack on Staten Island. And tonight, the man behind the wheel describes the terrifying ordeal that left his young child in tears. News 4's Anjali Hemphill has the story.
Well, this all happened during Friday evening rush hour as the victim says he was heading to New Jersey to celebrate Father's Day weekend with his two sons. Instead, he says they were attacked while sitting in his car and his kids were in the back seats.
He's gonna hit us. Oh,
It's okay.
These are white people. Now, a lot of times I hear you guys, not you guys, but newcomers to the channel. Anytime something happens to a black person, they only did that as the black person. White people, they know they can't do that stuff to white people. Do you understand white people? Let me tell you the difference between white people and black people when it comes to son violence. Okay? Yes. If I say something online to a black person, they'll try to kill me. If I, look at a black person funny, they'll try to kill me. If I bump them in the club, they'll try to kill me. Yes, those things will not happen to white people. White people are not in those zones where those things will happen to them. But if a white guy, a street crime or road rage, there's no protection for them. There's nothing that white skin will do for them. That white skin will not help them at all. Okay? Yes, if I argue, if a white YouTuber says something about a black YouTuber, that black YouTuber is not going to want to fight. He's not going to want to drop tell the white YouTuber to drop their addy. Yes, if a black YouTuber says something another black YouTuber doesn't like, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be, we got to fight. We got to meet up. Our cliques got to meet up and shoot it out. Yes, there are differences. But when it comes to street crime and road rage, there's absolutely no difference. There's no protections for white people. They get it just the same way as Asians, as Hispanics, as blacks. They all get it the same. So you have to understand, there are yes, me and a black guy, when we see each other walking down the street, there's that natural tension of like, he gotta act like he tough, and I gotta act like I'm tough, and he's not gonna do that with a white man just walking down the street. But if that white man does anything that black man does not like, then you become black. Okay? Basically, you become black when you do something they don't like. Any other time, you're just a tree, you're a fire hydrant, you're something there. They don't even really see you. They don't really see white people unless they're women. Beautiful women. Or attractive white women are the only white people they see normally. Or women that are, not even attractive. Let me not say attractive. Women. Only white people they see are women. They don't see white kids. They don't see white seniors. They don't see white men when they're walking around in their daily life. But if you do something they don't like, or you engage them, you interact with them, then you become a black person, where your life is constantly in danger. I hope I explained that well for you.
He's gonna hit us.
It's okay.
The terror in an 11-year-old boy's voice is undeniable as a cell phone camera captures a man with a bat shattering a truck's windshield as a family sits helpless inside.
And a side note, had this white man pulled out a gun and shot this brother, they would be marching. Al Sharpton and Ben Crump would have definitely been like, especially if he would shot the guy before he actually connected with the windshield. This would be a protest, and it would be a big story. He didn't have to do that. There was no reason to do that. It was just a bat. He was just trying to scare them, especially if it happened before he made contact with the windshield. If it happened after he made contact, the white guy would have shot him after he made contact with the windshield, which he had every right to, which a brother would have done. I want you to understand this. A brother would have shot him. Because most likely the people carrying illegal guns, because this may be a place where it's the gun laws are pretty strict. So the only people usually carrying in those areas are brothers. So you got to understand that a brother would have shot this guy. A brother would have shot this dude, right?
Windshield as a family sits helpless inside. The victim did not want to be identified, but tells News 4 over the phone that he was in the slow lane on the Staten Island Expressway Friday when two cars tried to pass him on the shoulder. He says the second one sideswiped him while trying to avoid an orange construction cone. But when they pulled over to check for damage, the victim says the man who hit him blamed him for the collision.
Before he walked away, I said, "I have kids in the car. I'm not doing this." And that's when he departed and grabbed something out of his vehicle. I looked up and
What was this white man's big mistake here? And I want to know how many of you guys been following the channel. I give you a few seconds. So this white man's biggest mistake was not showing like firmness and aggression. Once he relented, once he showed like that he was going to try to take the high road, or that he was going to try to not, he didn't want no smoke. Because the guy hit him, and then the guy, flipped the tables on him like, nah, man, this is you did it. Which is, some power move stuff. Once he was like, you know what? I got kids in the car, I'm out. Then, you guys got to understand what normal people, they're relieved when you don't want no smoke. Because now they get to go about their way without hurting anybody or going to prison, a place where there's no women, losing their freedom or losing their life or being, harmed, maimed, scratched, or whatever in an altercation. So most people on this planet, when you say you don't want no smoke and you're leaving it alone, they're relieved. They take their victory and they walk away. Sun people, especially sun men and sun women, I can't say that, that makes them more aggressive. That makes them more likely to attack you. Like you get the dust up, you say you don't want to fight. Well, then now this guy's like throwing things at you, and he's pulling out a knife and a gun. He escalate. They escalate when you say you don't want to fight. Anybody who's been around sun people, studied sun people, or been around them, get in the comment section. Tell me what you think about that. When you try to de-escalate, they escalate. So like once this guy said, you know what, I got kids in the car, I'm over. The guy wasn't probably going to go get a bat when they were just talking about it. Once the guy said, you win, I got kids in the car, I'm leaving it alone, bye. Then the guy said, oh, now let me go get a bat on a crowded highway, in traffic, bumper to bumper traffic on the highway. Let me get out of my car. Let me go to my car, get a bat, and bash up your car. It's counterintuitive. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but I've seen it so much that, and I've been in different places and not look just, oh, that's how DC niggas. Across the board, they act like that.
He was in the slow lane on the Staten Island Expressway Friday when two cars tried to pass him on the shoulder. He says the second one sideswiped him while trying to avoid an orange construction cone. But when they pulled over to check for damage, the victim says the man who hit him blamed him for the collision.
Before he walked away, I said, I have kids in the car. I'm not doing this. And that's when he departed and grabbed something out of his vehicle. I looked up and I noticed that he had pulled out a black bat, started hitting my headlight, hit my hood, was screaming that I'm not going to pay. You're not paying for my vehicle.
The victim says the two cars and the guy with the bat took off and he called police. No one was hurt, but the video has left other drivers appalled.
With kids in the car, it's just nothing to say.
This is not acceptable. This is not America.
Yeah.
It's lawless. It's shame.
And a father who hopes sharing this video will protect others.
Oh, that's an individual looking for trouble, and I fear that this individual could do it to somebody else.
So far, police have not released any information on a suspect or the two cars that left the scene. In Staten Island, Anjali Hemphill, News 4, New York.